Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to my new video and today we are going to be discussing Grade 8 History Chapter 1. This is a very interesting chapter and I hope this video will help you understand this chapter in a more better way. On your screen, firstly, you can see that which is the topic 1 of history. Now what is history? That is the topic 1. If you go back to your book which is how, where, and when, you will be able to see here that the first topic is how important are dates. But as you know that firstly, you should know what is history, then only you will be able to understand it. So let's start with the topic one, which is what is history. Now, history is an account of time. Everyone knows it that it has account means a proper account. Account means simply you could say a proper record of time of events, record of the events in the past. We go to back into past and trace all the events or the happenings that took place over a long period of time. Means we have three major history time, which is the modern, the firstly it was ancient prehistory, then it came to medieval in grade 7, and now it has come to the modern time of British. If we have a look, these periods were so long that the British period is about 150 years. So we'll study all the things which happened in those 150 years. In the class 8, 7th, we learned all about the Mughals decline, how they came, sultans, and all that. So we learned about a big period of time, what happened in that time. In this class, we will be learning what happened in the 150 years of the British rule. Since we are talking about long time periods, we club similar events in one time period and this time period becomes different from the other. Means we try to differentiate between the two time periods, like we differentiate between the Mughal time period and the British time period. These two time periods they become different from each other. Now, when we are trying to tell that this is ancient, this is medieval, and this is modern, what are we doing? We are periodizing history. We are telling that history is divided into these types. So we are periodizing history. Moving forward, basically, this is history. History is an account of time. Meaning of history, what we are going to learn in this chapter. Meaning of history, what is history? Why are dates important? In history, that is a topic one if you look in your NCRT. Why are dates important? You could just read all this paragraph or simply we will do it through this slide. Now we have a question, why are dates important in history? What set of dates are important? Now all dates are not important. Now out of so many dates, which set of dates are important? And who was James Mill? How did he periodize history? How did British came into India? All those things we are going to learn. Moving forward, how, where, and when. Now, what are we going to learn in this chapter? A basic thing. Firstly, we'll have an introduction to the chapter which we just had, that what is history? It is a study of events and is more than memorizing dates. In this lesson, we will learn how did it happen, when did it happen, and where did it happen. After that, we will learn the meaning of history, which we have already done. What is meaning of history? History is about changes that occurred over time. Here also we learn the same thing, that history is an account of time. It is about finding how things were in the past and how things have changed, how things were in the Mughal time, how they were in the British time, and how they're now. Now, as soon as we compare the past with the present, we refer to time. We talk about before, what happened before, and what happened after. So we talk about before and after in that thing. After that, we have done what all we have done. Basically, you could say that we have done the introduction part, meaning part. We know what is introduction, what is meaning of history. Now, what we will do, we will see why dates are important, criteria of dates, different periods, colonialism, administration, surveys, official records. We will see all this. But firstly, let's focus on importance of dates and criteria of dates. Now, first thing which you come across is why do we continue to associate history with a string of dates? Mostly students don't like dates. Why? Because they're difficult to remember and they are difficult to remember and also they make you confused. But actually, they don't confuse you. They tell you that which thing, which event, which happening occurred in the past or before, and which happening occurred after that particular time. So these dates organize the history. The history is an account of battles, big events, and a lot of things. Like if you see, if you have a king, a one particular king, in the dates you will see his birth date, when he became the king, and then when did he married and when did he died, when did he fought battles, when was his first battle, did he won that battle. There will be so many dates, but basically, which dates you have to remember? Big battles and big events. Those dates you have to remember. It is about rulers and their policies here. But there are so many other dates too. Okay, now we move forward that now we know that history is a round of battles and big events. It was about rulers and their policies too, and debates about dates continue to be important. Now, this is why this slide tells us about how important are dates and which dates are important basically. Now, if I zoom here, I'll show you this is the timeline of India. This timeline of India. It is very important. I'm zooming it out. Little more zooming will show it to you in a clearer way. Here you can see timeline of India, periods. What is it? First is the prehistory. Indian history is as old as the history of mankind. Okay, first thing. Then Indus and Saraswati, in which you have Indus and Mohenjo-daro civilizations. So Harappa, Mohenjo-daro communities you study. Then you go to Vedic period. There you have the Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, all those. There, then these things were in the grade six. Then rise of Jainism and Buddhism, the chapter seventh of your grade six, chapter eight. All these were of the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. Moving forward, you have the Maurya period, the chapter eight, the Chandragupta Maurya, the Bindusar Maurya, and the Ashoka. Lord Ashoka. Then you have golden age of arts and science. From here, you start with grade 7. You have all these things happening. Also, there were Muslim invasions, the Mughals. They came, the Khilji dynasty, the Vijayanagar Empire. There were so many things. The Bhakti movement, women in medieval Deccan, Ganga, all those things. The Mughal Empire, Akbar, and all those main five rulers. Then we come to our 1800 AD, 18th century, which is the British rule. In grade 8th, we will study that. Now, what will we study? We'll study the British rule, Indian freedom struggle, and free and modern India. So here it is the entire timeline from grade 6 to grade 8. Now, there are so many dates in this timeline. Here, I will just stop the zooming. Now, which dates? What criteria do we choose a set of dates important? Now, the dates become important when we focus on a particular set of events. The dates around which we compose a story of the past are not important on their own. For example, in the histories written by British historians in India, the rule of each governor general is important. When we're studying the history of British rule, you just study about the famous governor generals like Robert Clive and all those famous ones. We'll not study about each one of those. That is how these dates become important. Now, moving forward to our first slide, which is the synopsis, we have learned the importance of dates and the criteria of dates. We have the next topic, which is different periods. Before this, why don't we just have a look in our book and a PPT? So here is a book which dates. This is the criteria of dates which we just learned. Then here we have a important thing in your book. I'll try to zoom it out. So here on the side you can see Warren Hastings becomes the first Governor General of India in 1733. Remember this. If you are preparing for an exam and you don't remember this, it is very important. In your exam, it is sure to come in history. Always prepare these things. They can come as 1 mark questions, they can come as MCQs, and the 1 mark questions are the thing which you need to prepare. I will also share in today's video only a question bank for you to prepare. What question is it? Who was the first Governor General of India? Now tell me, who was the first Governor General of India? It was Warren Hastings. And if this question comes for 2 marks, what will you write? That Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of India in 1733. So you'll get 2 full marks. And if it comes for more marks, write all these that while history books narrated the deeds of Governor Generals, biographies glorified as persons and paintings projected them as powerful figures. So if this question comes for 1 mark, only the name, 2 marks, the date, 3 marks, explain everything. Okay. Now moving forward, we have the in your book only we have a topic. How do we periodize history? For that, let's get back to this PPT for clearing this. Here you can see periodization. Now, to summarize the lesson till now, firstly, let's do this thing first. We have done this, that dates become important in history. A history study of past. Studying about past means studying back into time, before and after. Dates become important. We continue to associate history with string of dates. This is because events take place during a period of time. Now we have a topic, periodization of history. Very, very, very important. A lot of things to learn in this topic, but basically it is about these things, these 4 things. It is about, what are these 4 things? It is about James Mill, A History of British India. What is this? Is this a book or not? Now, divided Indian history into 3 periods. Who did this? And which 3 periods were it? This is what we are going to be learning in periodization of Indian history. Moving back to our PPT, periodization of Indian history. How do we periodize history? In 1817, another question here rising. Who periodized Indian history for the first time? I will write here. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take it. Who periodized Indian history for the first time? A very, very important question can come for 3 marks. It can come surely for 3 marks. So prepare it with a marking scheme of 3 marks. Prepare it that way. If this question comes, what is going to be your answer? Your answer is going to be this, that in 1817, James Mill, a Scottish economist and a political philosopher, published a massive 3-volume work, A History of British India. Now, what is this three-volume work? It is a book named History of British India. In the book, he divided Indian history into three periods: Hindu, Muslim, and British. If this question comes for 3 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks, write all this. And if it comes for 5 marks, you have to write why did he periodize it like this, explain it, and what was the problems. If it comes for 5 marks, is a massive score. 5 marks is the maximum score. So if it comes for 5 marks, when, who, what is all this, and then what were the problems with it, why and what were the problems with it. So 5 things you have to do. Now we will see, we'll understand and try why did he divide it. Now he divided, he was James Mill, he is a Scottish philosopher, economist and political philosopher. In 1817, he published a book called History of British India. In that, what he wrote, he divided the Indian history into three periods: Hindu, the time of Buddhists, Jainas, and all those in grade 6; Muslim, the time of Mughal Sultan; British, the time of modern history. But what were the problems? Now, first problem is that in grade 6, you not only learned about the Vedas and the Hindus and the Bhakti movement and all, but you also learned about Buddhists and Jainas. So he is dividing on the basis of religion, which is not true. In grade 7th, you not only learned about Hindus, but you also learned about British and Buddhas and Jainas. And when we come to Muslims, there were not only Muslims, but there were also other kind of rulers emerging at that time, which were the Rajputs and all. Now there are different kinds of rulers, so he cannot divide them on the basis of their religion or the basis of where they live. So these were the problems. Why do we divide history and attempt to capture the characteristics of time, to differentiate between two periods, and to reflect our ideas about the past, and they show how one period changes from one to next. Now, historians usually divide history into these periods. Moving back to this PPT, let's see problems with Mill's periodization. He thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level. Now, he belonged to Europe. He was a Scottish writer, so he belonged to Europe. I'm sorry. Now, when he belonged to Europe, he thought that all these Asian societies, the Mughals, the Hindus, the Buddhists, the Jainas, all these societies, they were at a lower level. They were not so much civilized as then Europe. So he was comparing Asian societies with European societies. And he thought that European societies were more civilized than the Asian societies. Now, he felt that only British rule could civilize India. So, in his idea of history, the British rule represented all force of civilization. In his history, the period before British rule is considered as the period of darkness. So, these problems were also there apart from the religion problem. Now, other people they divide these on the basis of ancient, medieval, and modern. Now, there are also problems between these. What are the problems? That it is a Western concept. The term modern refers here to all forces of modernity: science, reason, democracy, liberty, equality. All these means modern. And the term medieval is used to describe a society where features of modern society do not exist. Means in medieval society there was no science, reason, democracy, liberty, equality. There was nothing in the medieval time. And ancient is used to refer to backward and primitive society where there was nothing. So that is the problems with this periodization. But still we periodize it in ancient, medieval, and modern. Moving back to our synopsis, we have learned criteria of dates, different periods. What next we have? We have colonialization. But to refer to this, let's see a little more, uh, you know, detailing about periodization and periods of Indian history. We all know how do we periodize history and all these, Now, moving forward, we have another topic. What is colonial? What is colonial? For this, let's move back to our this. Colonialization is a process. It is a process because the change took over a long time. Colonialization can be told as colonial, colonialized, or colony. Now, what is it? It is the subjugation of one country by another leads to these kind of political, economic, social, cultural changes. We refer to this process as colonialization. Now, you will find that all classes and groups did not experience these changes in the same way. This is why our book is called Our Past, not Our Past. It is our past. Why it is? Because there were different changes, political, economic, social, cultural changes, which is colonialization. Okay, now we know what is colonial. Here we see that what is the place that loses its independence under a foreign rule is called a colony. The foreign power is referred to as colonial power, and the process by which the colony loses its independence and undergoes social, political, cultural, and economic changes under the colonial power is called colonialization. A simple definition. Rather than learning this, you could simply learn this. Remember that the colonial power acquires colony by force, not by peace. They by force, by war. Okay. Now that is the end of today's video. But before going, I will be sharing one question bank with you. 1 minute, I'm just sharing a question bank. Now, why I'm sharing a question bank? Because when you're preparing for your exam, what you need to learn is that you need to frame questions from your book. You need to frame questions from your book. So here I'm going to share. Just a minute. Yes, so 1 minute I'm going to share the question bank. Now all these PPTs and all is also available in my classroom, Google Classroom, and the code for my Google Classroom is available in the description below. If you join my Google Classroom, you can access all these PPTs, question banks, modules, hypnosis, and question banks and all, whatever you want will be available there. So do visit it. And 1 minute, I'm just sharing it because of some technical issue. These question banks do not appear sometimes. So I'm trying to share it. Please wait for a second. If you don't have even a question bank, you can frame questions from your book. It is very easy. But since I have made a question bank for you, so just try to revise the concepts from that question bank. Is that clear? I'm just gonna share that. I think the technical issue is solved. Let me share it. So here it is. You can see this is a lesson summary as a flow chart, and these are the questions. Why do we periodize history? Who periodized history for the first time? How did James Mill periodize history? What were the problems with his periodization? Also, in your book, you can form different questions like read paragraph 2 and answer what is history? That is a question. What is history? Moving forward, here also you can form different questions. In examples, also you can form questions. What is coherence now? Coherence means it is kind of a story or a relationship between two things. Here are questions. Coherence is a set of ideas, which is said is a relationship, and clear always we are connected to one another. We are connected in a relationship with one another. Now, another questions. How do we periodize history? All these questions. Now, why do we try to divide history into different periods? Answer to this is also given here. This is also available in my classroom. What is problems with Mill's classification of history? How do Indian historians periodize Indian history? What is problems with this classification? What does the term colonialization means? It is given here. Moving forward, also you can form questions here. Now here, if you see it, it has a topic administration produces records. We will also learn about this topic here. If I show you the administration produces records, that why did British preserve official documents? On your book also it is given as a heading that administration produces records. So you can learn it like this, and from these figures also you can form your own question and answers. Also you can go through these question answers. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, and meet you guys in my next video.